Good morning. This is Bakes, Kevin Baker with Bakes Takes. Welcome to the podcast. Doing this Wednesday, February 10th. First, won't get fooled again. No more GameStops. I'll explain that. Number 2, yes, more Bitcoin. Number 3, yes, more uranium. Real quickly, why I do this. My sons, Bobby, Jack, 24, 22, they would ask me questions when they were in business programs in college. Their friends would chime in. And I'd like coaching, and so anything money and markets related, I think I know something about. Been doing this since the 87 crash, and went on my journey of learning how not to go through a crash again, and turned to technical analysis, reading charts. I do a lot of fundamental work, as I hope I demonstrate here. But I go technicals first, fundamentals second. It's not right or wrong. It's just what works for me. And I read the things that maybe you don't want to. The Wall Street Journal, the Economist, Barron's. I listen to all kinds of podcasts, devour relevant newsletters, monitor what my Google alerts are bringing in. And I always give attribution and point you to them. But if you don't want to do that, please know that I'm doing that work for you. I eat home cooking. I only talk about things that I'm invested in or I'm interested in. I have no conflicts. I'm pretty transparent. And here's my disclaimer. This isn't investment advice. Please conduct and share your own due diligence. I want this to be a community where we all put in more than we take out, if you will. And I think we'll all have a lot more fun and make some money. Fan mail. I just wanted to go back and talk about last week. Because frankly, I'm pretty, proud about, some of the calls that I've made recently. This is GameStop. Obviously, everybody and his brother has talked about GameStop. And all I did this week was I went to the prior show notes and just updated them. So here is the chart that I showed last week with $60 or so support. And this is just right from last week. And obviously it was a moonshot to 325, 483 was the high. And again, I encourage you that if you're listening to this audio only, please go to the YouTube channel. I have all of these charts that I think really tell a great story that are helpful. So 60 or so support was pretty clear to me, and we blew through that. And I pointed out these levels, okay? The high was 483. There was another, obviously lower high at 413. And I said that's going to be resistance versus this 325 close. And then I drew these red lines at these different levels where the stock had been before. 250, 150, and that $60 support. And the take I had last week, and I didn't bury the lead, was sell your original investment if you can, let the rest of the winter run, and watch trades and closes below and above these levels. And frankly, I thought this would take longer to play out, but it happened in a week. 325, I don't think we saw much above that again. We took out 250, and then we went blasted through the $60 level, and that's where we are right now. I haven't seen the market this morning, but it's below 60, I believe. So here's where we are now. These prior levels that were support are now resistance. Call that a ceiling or a lid, whatever you prefer. 250, 212, 150, and $60 now. Watch how the stock acts at around $60. I personally think it's going to stall out there. I don't see anything really driving this up anytime soon. This is still GameStop I'm talking about. I would get out of this. Now, it could fill the gap at 150 to 212. I doubt it. But if you see a meaningful close and a volume resurgence at 60, maybe you can hold out for higher prices. But I don't think we're going to see 325 anytime again, in my personal view. I said that fundamentals and valuations don't matter for now, and they didn't and don't. And then we also talked about AMC, the movie chain, and BlackBerry, and they look very similar to me. And I please ask you to share this with your Robinhood friends, your Reddit Rebellion friends, or just your friends, and send other stocks ideas that you're curious about, and I'll offer a strategy for them as well. And please stay tuned. So my take is, and that's why I use the "Won't Get Fooled Again" theme. The world looks just the same. History ain't changed. And the banners there are flown in the next war. There aren't going to be any more game stocks, folks, because this is what happened. You're not going to catch a Melvin hedge fund for a long, long time, because everybody spent their weekend in Greenwich in their office looking at all the stocks that are potential short squeezes, and they brought their exposures way down. Now, there might be a roaring kitty someplace that found one that is esoteric that I haven't seen or we haven't seen, but it's going to be really, really tough because people aren't stupid. They once they get burned, they say, I'm not going to do that again, and I'm going to at least screen for every stock that's out there with 100% short position. And you're not going to find it because Kramer, me, Mike, everybody's looked for them, and we're not finding them. So I just think that's the way this is going to play out, which segues into silver, because silver was touted as the next GameStop. Well, the silver market is monstrous. I mean, it's trillions of dollars. So here's SIL, the Global X Silver Miners. It's an ETF I've frankly owned in the past, and I was stopped out recently because I don't lose more than 15% of my money because I want to be able to live and fight another day. So I'm not in this, and I'm not buying it literally and figuratively. And I want you to discount the Wall Street Bets bullshit heavily. I just take. Oh, Mike, go back to that, please. And I didn't draw an arrow, unfortunately, because I was pressed for time. But you didn't see the ETF, this group of silver miners went up with a lot of fanfare, and I thought, oh my God, I got to go back into this. And then I waited for the day because I want to see closes much more so than intraday trades. And it didn't take out the highs. The volume was pretty good, looked pretty good, but it reversed really readily and rapidly. And then I went to the Wall Street Bets thread, and most of the responses were, don't ignore this. This is not GameStop. This is not silver. And so it was sort of a I don't know. It was like a leak from Wall Street to go look at silver. And for right now, I'm not buying it. So, and I don't think you should too. So I just, I really want to help anybody that's got a Reddit/Robinhood affiliation. I want to be a resource. And yes, please go to Wall Street Bets, pay attention. But I think you should pay attention to us too. And I think that's reasonable. And I hope I'm giving evidence that some of the stuff really works. All right, next is AMC. And this is the same thing last week. And I like to keep my feet to the fire, and do postmortems, if you will, and put them in that book that I didn't bring today, but that I've shown you in the past. All right, so I talked last week, 2026 was weekly high resistance of AMC. We haven't seen anything close to that since. The next chart is the support level, this big red line, which goes back 6-7 years. 771. Now, when I mentioned support, that's an area. I don't want to, have it down to the penny precision because the world doesn't work that way. It's too messy, but especially with these crazy short squeezes. But 771 was support, which is the blast off area where everybody's making money, everybody's in the pool, and let's drive this to $20. We closed at 13.26. Well, here it is a week later, and we're at 550. And I mentioned in the past that parabolas correct about 80%. $20 to 550 is pretty close to 80%, and I think it's a pretty good call. And I think that it's the same sort of thing. 771, I'll talk about that more. I shared last week the Michael Burry comment that you're not going to find other game stocks. I'm paraphrasing, but he pointed out, and I point out again, look at the the AMC thread, and half the comments are talking about AMC is the next GME. It's not going to be the next GME because the days short, the days to cover is less than a day, a far cry from what we saw with GameStop. So you don't have the kerosene for the matches that people are trying to throw at this. So be really cautious about people touting the next GameStop. So here's my take. Last week, I said sell the original investment. Again, these are the notes from last week. I didn't even edit these. Let ride if it breaks above 2026. It didn't come close. Closes are more important than the intraday. Below 771, likely back down to 5. Well, 550 is pretty close. I think it's a pretty good call. We're here, and I hope I've added some value. BlackBerry. 2877 resistance on the monthly chart. Again, this is verbatim from last week. I doubt it gets there. It didn't. 1410 are the prior highs, and so that's some resistance there too. 969 was support. I draw the red line here. It's the prior high daily, and if it closes below there, it's a problem. And I put out again that parabolas usually correct 80% plus. In this case. Here was my take. Sell the original investment. Let the profit ride. That's what I'm doing with GBTC, the Bitcoin ETF, for example. In the case of BlackBerry, let ride if it breaks above 28.77. The close is more important than the intraday. If it's below 969, we're likely going down to 651 or lower. This is held up better than the prior two. We're at $13, but it's roughly cut in half from the high. It's above support, and I still think it's a pretty good call. Now, I'll have bad calls, and I've had bad calls, but I hope that I'm adding some value in these crazy situations with a dispassionate view that's not from Wall Street Bets. If you have Robinhood or Reddit friends, please share this. Send your stocks to Bakes Takes, and I'll give my best view of locking in profits or limiting losses. Had a great text last night from one of my favorite people on God's earth, Kristin from New Hampshire, and got right to the point. Bitcoin, yes or no, bought $2,000. Should I buy more? And I said pretty quickly, yes, but be ready for big down days. And I used I relayed a conversation I had with my son Jack about why Bitcoin, and I at some point there's a conversation that someone had where they tried to buy a horse with the first paper dollar, and the other side of the trade said, "Where the hell's my gold?" And I think that's where we are. I mean, the dollar was just a paper representation backed by gold forever, and Bitcoin is just the next iteration of a digital representation of gold. That's a bit of an oversimplification, but that's where I think we are. Here's the GBTC that I mentioned before. Full disclosure, I own this. It's just a portfolio full of Bitcoin. The volume looks good. I think $48 is a lid for now. It isn't a very heavy lid, in my opinion. But so I still like Bitcoin for a whole host of reasons. And one of these is corporate adoption. So go to the next one, Mike, please. This is in the Globe, and it was everywhere. Tesla buys $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and will accept his payment soon. And Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, had a seminar, for lack of a better term, 2-day seminar last week. 6,000 companies were on it. So the CFOs and CEOs of 6,000 major companies are all looking at putting a percentage, some percentage, small or large, of their corporate treasury from cash dollars into Bitcoin. And so that's going to happen because now it's become safe and almost irresponsible for CFOs and CEOs to be fully exposed to a dollar that's depreciating in value in front of their eyes. So this is happening. I think it's inevitable. And Tesla and Elon Musk are just the latest fortification of my view that Bitcoin is a real asset that's here to stay. Next is North Shore Global Uranium, URNM. We've talked about this for a long time. This is my favorite uranium ETF, Hitem. He's the CEO of North Shore, and a fellow jumbo. I put this up here because Murph, another great fan of the show, very thoughtful investor, asked a lot of great questions, and he said, "Bakes, do you still like uranium?" And I guess I got a little bit Reddit heavy in the last couple of shows, but I said, "Yeah." I said, "Hell yes" in my notes. I still like uranium. I think we're in the second inning. And certainly this chart bears it out. It's hitting new highs on big volume, exactly what we want to see. The spot price of uranium is going up. I think that it is, I'm hearing more about ESG, it seems like every passing day. And wind and solar are not going to get the job done. If you try to move away from fossil fuels, you're going to need, and I mean we, the planet, the globe, every country is going to be beefing up their nuclear capabilities, and they're going to need uranium to fuel those plants, and we're going to need higher prices to get it out of the ground. And I just think it's that simple. So I'm going to be giving you more data points as I see them. But I'm still very excited about the uranium story. Next, my themes and groups. And I put the account up here, again, to keep my feet to the fire, up 15.3% year to date. And I'm sure some of you have gains that are much bigger than that. That's fine. But I'm pretty happy with how we're progressing here. I added the Amplify Blockchain ETF, BLOK, this past week, up 21% in a week. That will not happen very often. I'm surprised it happened that rapidly. The aforementioned MicroStrategy is the number 2 or 3 name in this. So these are all the companies that are participating in some way in blockchain / crypto. Obviously, an area that is hot and getting hotter. I'm doing more work on this as we speak. So I'm still bullish on Bitcoin, cannabis, uranium, esports and gaming, copper, agriculture. I've got 15% dry powder. I'm looking for 2 new ideas. Please send yours. I'm always open to them. I'm going through charts constantly. And Charlie, this is in response maybe to your question last week. I didn't find the Levi's of the Bitcoin gold rush last week, and I came across BLOK as I went through the charts to find this after the last podcast. So it's the Amplify Transformational Data ETF. BLOK is the symbol. I put that and blockchain in my Google alerts, and we'll see how this progresses forward. But take a look at the chart if you're on the YouTube channel. It is an absolute thing of beauty, gapping up on big volume, and the applications for blockchain, I think, are going to be monstrous and multiplying. And I'm there. It's extended right now. I would not buy it right here, but it is a very exciting area that I have added to the portfolio. We'll be talking about more as we go forward. Charts of the week, and this really surprised me. Again, I go through 1,700 plus charts every single month, and I just bring this up for food for thought. This is the S&P 500, and what I noticed was, CNBC breathlessly talks about new highs and 5 straight trading days of up days and new highs and what have you. The volume's lousy. See the volume on the up days, the blue. It is unconvincing to me. So we have all this supposed good news. Earnings, stimulus, etc., vaccines, but we're not seeing a lot of big buying interest as we hit new highs. Now, new highs are great, but new highs on above average volume are better, and this seems weak to me. And it's in all the indices. The next one are the Qs, the NASDAQ 100, and these are the Amazons and Microsofts and Intels of the world, and it's just The down days are where the volume's picking up, which suggests distribution, and the volume's lousy on the up days. So it isn't. It's still in an uptrend. It could change, but watch out. It feels weak to me. And I'm going to be watching this as we go forward. And it's the same with the small caps. This is the iShares Russell 2000, the small cap index. And I got to believe I think GameStop is now the number one stock here. So that's certainly goosed it. But we're not seeing the volume. We're seeing the volume show up on the down days, not so much on the up days. And it's a warning sign. Not more than that right now, but it's a warning sign. And, keep sell tickets at the ready. All right, that's the show. Please also subscribe to my Bakes Takes YouTube channel. The audio is the same, but the charts that I reference are on the screen. Follow us on Twitter at BakesTakes_ and other social media. Please use your voice memo app. Tape your questions and email to bakes@bakestakespodcast.com or write if you'd prefer. I'll keep you anonymous if you'd like. Thank you for listening. Mike Wilson is my producer. Mike, thanks as always. Have a great week. This is Bakes, and this is Van Halen covering the Who's Won't Get Fooled Again. As you know, I play the guitar, and I came up with the theme for Bakes Takes. I am no Eddie Van Halen. There are no Eddie Van Halens. May he rest in peace. But again, the world looks just the same. History ain't changed because the banners, they are flown in the next war. It's a great version and a lot of fun, and I recommend it highly. And for much needed levity, Eugene Mirman, it started as a joke, is a great Netflix special. He's a great comedian with a lot of great comedian friends, and it's absolutely fabulous, and I hope you enjoy it. Have a great week. See you soon. Take care. Bye now.